I will come to that. That's a good point. But first of all, the question is that why do we need to know what the observable is, right? And one solution, I was thinking that you're objecting in this manner, but let me do the objection. Selçuk, but maybe this is not necessary because, you know what, if it is a weather, we know that this is a floating point.
Well,
So we will come here and say, well, this is, we know that, what about that?
But you have to check for that. If it's not a primitive type like float, or it was another two objects.
No. Your answer should be this.
Okay.
If I have maybe the grain level in the, you know, the farm has some grain in the stocks, grain like wheat, you know, wheat. So animals wants to know that. So it's a floating point as well. So I cannot infer that it is, if it is a floating point, I cannot say that it is a weather object.
So they are both.
So they are both floats. So how can I know? That doesn't count. So I cannot know that if it is or if it is not. You know, that I cannot infer that if it is a floating point, information that I'm getting, it is necessarily going to be weather. There can be another object, another observable, that's also a floating point. So I cannot infer that. So, but again, why would I need? Because all I do is printing. But it may be the case that I'm not doing only printing. Maybe I'm doing something else depending on what the object is. What the object is passed. So that is why. So I think we solved the mystery, right? I think we solved the mystery why this is here. Did we?
But there might be another case with the same observable name. There might be different subject. For example, weather of Istanbul or weather of Ankara. So maybe the argument says something about the subject. A unique information about the subject.
Yeah, what you're saying is this. Maybe there is this weather, but there is also weather of Istanbul, weather of.
Yeah. It's still a weather object, but with different information.
So this is what we mean. I have Is this what you mean?
This might be, or maybe weather class has all weather information in an array list.
Let's keep it simple, and maybe this is it. So what?
So we must send with the argument which weather is it, I guess.
Maybe if
So this is
was
what.
the case,
So this is what you mean. Just a second. This is what you mean.
printing the city attribute too.
Is this what you mean?
And we can give that value
Yeah.
in the construct.
So, but yeah, okay. So what you said is not changing our structure. Okay. So what you said is okay for us. It doesn't affect our structure. But if you say something that will affect our structure, that's important to know. But what you said didn't affect our structure. We can handle what you said. We can handle. We're okay with that. All we need to do is to include, as you suggested, the city name inside. I mean, if it is needed, we can do it that way. But there are other ways of doing it as well, with some other patterns. Okay, but we will come to that maybe the next time, because, what do you say? Because, all right, let me say that. What you suggested was, what happens if we have city names, if we need to have city names? Then I included it into the code. Like, the weather now has two variables inside it, the city name and the temperature belongs to that city. If I want a more flexible design, like I want to add more information, but without changing the current code. Like I have this weather information, and you suggested that maybe I want to have the city name as well. And maybe I want to have something else as well. Maybe it is not the weather, but maybe this is another object that I'm observing. There is a class that this information that I want to pass. Within that, you know, I'm observing something, but the information that I'm passing is
does not hold
I want it to be flexible, let's suppose. I want to be able to change it. I want to be able to add and remove things into it. It is so abstract that it is, how can I say that? Like, okay, what he suggested, you know, when something, you know, this is very important in programming. When something happens, you know, there is one thing. And if you add the second thing, that means that you can add infinite things. So what he suggests that he says, it is maybe not only the temperature information that I'm going to be passing to. Maybe there is another information, maybe there is another string, like the city name, that I want to add. Okay, then I can, if that happens, then 10 more things can be added. This is the world of programming. If it happens once, then this is something else. It happens once. But if it happens twice, that means that it can happen 10 times as well. You are suggesting that I want to add maybe a string. Then I say, why not? Then maybe I want to add another object. Maybe I want to add an integer, an image. But I don't want to change it over here. I want to be able to add it as much as I can in the runtime. Add here, you know, main. I have this main. You said that Istanbul, there is this information. What I want to do is, you know, now I have this this weather, and in this weather, I have only, well, I have the city name now, but at the constructor, I'm not initializing it. So what I want to do, I want a flexible structure instead of this weather. I want this weather to be more flexible, so I would be able to add at main, when I'm writing at main, inside that code, I want to be able to add city name. I want to be able to add an image, anything. And then people will be observing that information. And, you know, something like that. So these are all, we will come to that. I mean, there are many ways to do it. There are some patterns about that we can do it. I mean, but this is, you know, we will be, I don't know if we will be going that far, but it is possible to combine patterns together. So I can add another pattern into this and combine them together. So, but don't forget what I said at the beginning, you know, the purpose is not to create complicated stuff. The purpose is to come up with a clever design that is flexible enough, but serves the purpose, just the purpose, you know, nothing more than that. If we know that whatever we have written, whatever, you know, a simple hello world example I told you about, all I want is to print a hello world, then that's one line of code. I don't need a strategy, a decorator, or whatever to do that. So don't forget about that. But to be able to come up with very ingenious, complicated designs is your ability, your skill. Can you or can you not do it? That's the question. So when the requirements of the customer is very complicated, you need a complicated design. There are two ways to deal with it. One way is to write a dirty code. The second way is to write a beautiful code that is flexible enough. So that is the point. This is what, you know, this is the level of expertise that you will be showing. If you are a master or not, then this shows. Okay? And there is one last thing before we go. What you said. What was your name again?
Talat.
Talat. Yeah, no, I didn't ask you your name in the first place.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah, okay.
If we want more flexible design, can we add another observable? For example, we
Yeah.
have score and more data also in a runtime. With this, we can add another animals here with the runtime. But if we want to add another info, whether score or another one.
How we will do it?
Oh, yes.
Okay, just let's, because of the time, we will come to this because this opens a new subject for us. Let's first come that there is a suggestion to refactor this code. What Talat is saying that there is something unnecessary, right?
Yeah.
What is that, Talat? I said that I promised to come back to that. It was in here.
In here, instead of taking a observable key, we can send this and.
What Talat is saying, you don't need this. He says you can do this.
There is no need for this.
Are you okay with this? He has a good point.
Can we go back?
What mistakenly, what we were thinking about was if we put this in here, then we would be sending an abstract class, but we cannot send an abstract class. It doesn't take any space. And that's why we forced ourselves to put this in here and pass it to this abstract class and pass it to the update. What Talat is saying is, well, this is an object. When the object is created in the form of weather, when you call this, you will be sending the weather, not this one. This is what you say.
Yes.
Let us see if it is correct. How can we see that?
Get class. Get class.
OB.
OB.
Just OB. OB to string or
Yeah, get class.
We will now find out if Talat was correct. What do you think, Talat?
I think it's correct.
Do you feel lucky? Yes, you're right. Okay, good. This is the end of it. Let's stop the video now.